In the recent unit focus video, we talked about the updated powers of Zoats, but we haven't showcased them in a full-on battle. So here's a battle between the Wood Elves and the Bretonnians, a matchup where the Wood Elves traditionally struggle with. So for the army build here, the Wood Elves led by yours truly has a front line of Dryads. One of the Dryads are accompanied by a Branch Wraith with the Malkov's Mystifying Miasma, Pendulum, and also Earthblood. At the back here, we have a lot of anti-large armor piercing, Eternal Guards, Azrai Spears, War Dancers, and of course, 2 Zoats on the battlefield. A single War Dancers, the regular variant, in the middle, hoping to fight through a whole bunch of Bretonnian chaff. For leadership, we have Glade Lady coming in with Prey of Anathema as well as Arrows of Kernus. As for mobility, there is a single Glade Rider hidden in the forest, overlapping with a whole bunch of mounted yeoman archers. Definitely going to be a mess when the battle starts. Now for the Bretonnian side, other than the 2 mounted yeoman archers forward deployed, we have a front line of peasants mixed in with cavalry. Peasant mobs, backed up by 3-foot squires, and then a whole bunch of Grail Knights and Knight Errant, a mixture of expensive and cheap heavy cavalry from the Bretonnian side, hoping to overwhelm the skirmishing forces of the Wood Elves, as well as lancing down their lightly armored mobility. At the back, we have some staple Wood Elf units, 3 peasant archers who can trade effectively into Wood Elf archers. Spell support wise, a rather standard pig, a live damsel coming in with Dwellers Below and Earthblood. Leading the army on a Pegasus, we have Albrecht de Bordelou, who is quite cheap and has a nice AoE item. With the army builds done, let's get the battle started and see the Zoats in action. With all the Vanguard deployment, the action begins straight away as the Glade Riders on top of all these mounted yeoman archers are just doing damage to each other in close melee combat. Dryads with the mounted yeoman archers pinned down are able to catch them, doing some nice impact damage, but also the Grail Knights are able to charge down all these Glade Riders, especially with Albrecht de Bordelou providing some bonus versus large with the Braid of Bordelou. Now, with a response from a Branch Wraith, the Malkov's Mystifying Miasma is slowing down the Grail Knights from pulling out and also draining their health, allowing the War Dancers and the Zoats to try to catch up. And then with the support from the Glade Lord, a Prey of Anathema is pinning down all these elite Bretonnian cavalry, opening them up to a charge from all the armor-piercing anti-large from the Zoats and the Azrai Spears. At the same time, the Dryads are able to clean up a whole bunch of peasant mobs, but they themselves are charged down by the Knight Errants with their 54 charge bonus, doing some nice damage to the Dryads who doesn't have the heaviest armor or melee defense. Now over here, War Dancers are being run down by a bunch of Knights Errant with their light armored, but the War Dancers with Azrai Spears will quick to follow up, hoping to quickly grind down all these Knights Errant, but that opens up the gap in the Wood Elf lines, allowing the Grail Knights to circle around and go for a surround for the Glade Lord, who is now caught by Albrecht de Bordelou. The Glade Lord right now is isolated and will be requiring other support to survive. For example, a Flesh to Stone, providing that physical resistance doesn't help against Grail Knights, but it does mitigate damage from Albrecht, who doesn't do magic damage, and buy time for the Eternal Gods and Zoats to rush over. And at the back here, all these peasant archers will be a great nuisance to the Wood Elf army as they do not have the most armor to tank all these missiles, though I do have a lot of extra winds of magic now that healing can be provided by the Zoats. So I'll be dropping a Penumbral Pendulum on top of these 3 very well lined up peasant archers, doing massive damage. At the back here, the Grail Knights, who are too focused on hunting down the Glade Lord, has taken significant losses from a surround of the War Dancers and Zoats. They have most certainly overcommitted to this fight and needs to pull back as soon as possible. While over here in the front line, the Foot Squires, a second line of Bretonnian infantry, are able to push back the Dryads, but now the Zoats are here and they have the armor piercing to crush them all. While the Eternal Gods needs to be activated and move on to the Peasant Yeoman Archers or the backline, but then there are some Peasant and Foot Squires who are now slowing down their advance, forcing them to turn around and engage, though they should be able to win as the Foot Squires have taken significant damage from the Zoats. In the front line here, Foot Squires now engaging War Dancers with Azrai Spears. They might have bonus versus infantry, but unfortunately for them, the War Dancers regular ones have activated Shadow's Coil, giving them 62 melee defense in total, while the Azrai Spears does have some armor piercing to slowly hack down the Foot Squires. On the side, there are some regrouped peasant mobs, but they shouldn't be a problem for the Dryads. And at the back, Glade Lord is slowly chipping away health of Albrecht the Borderloo with her missile attacks, as the rest of the Wood Elf units are now moving forward, hoping to shut down all these backline missiles and cavalry from the Bretonnian side. Unfortunately for my Wood Elves, the peasant archers have regrouped. Their light armor means that the peasant bows with their sheer volume of fire will be earning back a lot of value, though it will take them some time for the damage to accumulate. I try to pressure them with the Zoats, but a countercharge from the knights errant are pinning them down, buying time for the peasant bows to turn over and aim down the large hitboxes of the Zoats. Though despite not having the greatest armor, the Zoats do have some missile resistance at 25% and will be surviving for a short bit. But then the Grail Knights are coming in with their anti-large charge bonus as well. So the Zoats will be taking massive damage from this kind of charge, especially the Grail Knights still have 30 models intact, especially with Albrecht supporting the fight with the melee power and also the anti-large buff. And then with a rear charge from the mounted yeoman archers, the Zoats, who do not have the greatest leadership at only 65 at base value, means that they'll be quickly routed off and pushed away by some rear charges, though not before routing off the Grail Knights. Though now fresh reinforcements emerge from the forest, being sustained by some earth blood from the Zoats. This should give the Wood Elves enough power to make another push for the peasant archers at the back. At the same time, Bretonnians have a mobility advantage. Knights errant at the back are able to clean up some scattered dryads, and the peasant bows are able to form a deadly crossfire over a single unit of Zoats. Their HP is dropping quickly, but a flesh to stone giving them 60% physical resistance and then 25% more from their scaly skin giving them decent missile resistance means that they'll have 85% damage reduction to all these missile damage, stabilizing their HP losses for the next 19 seconds, and that is more than enough for the Zoats to catch up with the peasants. While there is also the branch wraith jumping onto some of these peasant bows, shutting them down. So with 2/3 of the Bretonnian missiles shut down, the Zoats can quickly move on to the next target and continue to pressure the Bretonnian missile infantry. All around the battlefield, the Bretonnian mobility are regrouping after taking massive damage, including some mounted yeoman archers who have been pushed away earlier, now repositioning, aiming down the Wood Elf units with their bows and arrows. There are some regrouped Grail Knights who got hit by an arrows of Kurnus earlier, dropping a couple models and limiting their fighting power. Albrecht right now is receiving a buff from flesh to stone, but unfortunately that is not going to be useful against the magical attacks from the Zoats, while the peasant moths are tying down the branch wraith as the peasant bows at the back are showering the Zoats with point blank fire. But then in Malkov's mystifying miasma, the spell directly drains the health of all these peasant bows, lowering their leadership to a point of wavering and in the end eventually routs. And with that, there's nothing between the Zoats and the second archer unit at the back. Though I was a bit slow on reacting to this breakthrough, as the Zoats and all these remaining Wood Elf units just standing there idly taking crossfire from all these peasant bows from around the battlefield. At this time, Albrecht made a massive mistake trying to drop in and snipe out the branch wraith and a prey of Anathema pinning down the Bretonnian Lord. This allows the anti-large armor piercing from the Zoats to surround Albrecht, and not being able to pull away, Albrecht is taking massive damage and quickly dropping his leadership to routing territory. And the point-blank fire of the peasant bows are shut down and even shattered by the Glade Lord, who charge in for a melee engagement. At this point, the Bretonnians are in a massive disadvantage. Their cavalry are quite depleted and their missiles are mostly compromised, with the war dancers chasing off the remaining peasant bows. And then the mounted yeoman archers are now almost out of ammo and also being drained by Malkov's mystifying miasma. As I said before, with all the healing from the Zoats and support, I have more liberty with using other spells, including the damaging ones, to weaken the Bretonnian army. At the far back here, there are some remnants of the Azrai Spears and War Dance's regular variant, who are now being charged down by the Grail Knight. They have been worn down quite a bit by combat attrition, but the regular War Dancers got some great kills and recovered most of their value. Also, luckily for the Wood Elves, there are some Eternal Gods right behind all these War Dancers. The Grail Knights will be quickly pulling away from this engagement before being dragged down by getting stuck among all these armor-piercing anti-large spears. Not even a Damsel of Life will be able to help them in this kind of long melee grind. Anyways, the battle will slow down for a slight bit here as the Wood Elves are regrouping and the Bretonnians have ran out of missiles. The Grail Knights attempt to do one last charge and rout the Zoats, but the counter-charge from the Zoats are also dismantling them with all the armor-piercing and magic attacks bypassing their physical resistance and heavy armor. With the Knights faltering, the rest of the Bretonnian army simply melts away. And now it's time for a post-battle analysis to check out how did the Zoats perform. They didn't earn back all of their value since they are 1,700 gold per unit, but the great thing about them is that they do have the bounce spell support, constantly healing a lot of the Wood Elf units, sustaining their HP, especially the Glade Lord, who took substantial damage from the Grail Knight and Alberic at the early game. And then the Flesh to Stone there, mitigating a lot of damage coming from Bretonia. Yes, it won't be useful against the Grail Knight, who does have magic damage, but from other damage sources like the Peasant's Bowfire and also Alberic's melee attacks, the Flesh to Stone spell still has a lot of applications. And then of course they themselves have some nice magical armor-piercing anti-large attacks, pummeling the Grail Knights in an efficiency unmatched by most of the other Wood Elf cavalry. And then the War Dancers here, one of them earned back their value by hacking down a lot of those Grail Knights, and the other not so much as they were stuck fighting a bunch of foot squires due to my mistake here. Although the War Dancers regular variant did manage to earn back their own value here, all thanks to a Flesh to Stone helping them tank out the damage from the Peasant Bows, while they themselves activated Shadow's Coil, protecting themselves from the melee attacks from all the foot squires. Eternal Gods not a lot of damage value since they didn't see too much action, while the Dryads here mostly responsible for clearing out a whole bunch of peasant mobs, but once they start fighting foot squires and knights errants, their performance would be quite lacking. Glade Riders with Spears being decimated by Grail Knight and Alberic, unfortunately they didn't do too much. As for the leadership, Glade Lord, not doing a lot of damage, mostly they're using the Prey of Anaphrema to pin down and control Bretonian cavalry. However, she is still a pretty decent melee combatant, so 860 gold, nothing too shabby. The Branch Wraith though earned back 1,700 gold value, all thanks to the support from the Zoats. Usually when you bring a Branch Wraith, you would be spending most of that magic on Earthbloods trying to sustain your units, but this time with the Zoats' presence, some of that healing responsibility were shifted to these units with their bound Earthbloods. That allows me to spend more Winds of Magic on other purposes, like damaging enemy units, using the Pendulum to wreck a bunch of Peasant Bows, and then using Malkoff's Mystifying Miasma to drain away the health of Grail Knights, the Peasant Bows, and Mounted Yeoman Archers. Now for the Bretonian army here, Grail Knights as always a solid cavalry. If they can manage to get a charge on the Wood Elf units, they will be doing massive damage, especially with their magic attacks bypassing a lot of the Wood Elf's physical resistance. But this time, they have met their match. With the Zoats armor-piercing anti-large, they have taken massive damage and being drained by some of that Branch Wraith's Mystifying Miasma. Unfortunately, they were not able to have a good performance here, especially most of the Wood Elf units on the field are armor-piercing and anti-large, from the Eternal Gods to the Azrai Spear War Dancers. As for the other units, the Bretonian Foot Squires not doing a whole lot here, as they do not have the melee stats to punch through the Wood Elf infantry, and then the Knights Errant not doing a lot of damage either, being dragged down by the armor-piercing anti-large War Dancers with Azrai Spears. The Mounted Yeoman Archers, one of them earned back their value, the other not so much, and the Peasant Bows, as always, they're a very efficient missile infantry here. Being dirt cheap while having a lot of unit models, the sheer volume of fire helps them trade extremely cost efficiently against the Wood Elves. Peasant mobs, as always, they are peasant mobs, so not much to be said. As for Alberic the Bordelou, he managed to get a drop on my Glade Lord, so get some nice damage in the end, and the Damsel of Life mostly there for the healing, so not much damage either. And yeah, that's basically it for the battles. I hope viewers you enjoyed this replay, and if you do and want to see more, remember to hit the like and subscribe to get notified when I upload new videos. And if you want to showcase your own replays, feel free to drop by my Discord or send me an email with the replay file attached. I'll be sure to check them out. And also, as a bit of a promotion, Clan BBB, which is also my clan, is going to host a tournament loaded with prizes in January. If you're interested in getting some competitive multiplayer battles going and also getting some extra nice rewards, do check out the Discord server of Clan BBB. I'll be posting the link down below. And yeah, that's it for today's battle. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Tactical Lich, signing out.